Custom GPTs sound like one of those AI features everyone is just supposed to understand. So if you've heard about custom GPTs, you might be wondering, okay, is this something I should be using now? Or do custom GPTs simply make ChatGPT more complicated than it needs to be? Yes, custom GPTs can be very useful, but they are not automatically the right tool for every job. So in this video, I'm going to explain what a custom GPT actually is in plain English, when it's worth creating one, and when it's simply overkill. Now, before we decide thumbs up or thumbs down on custom GPTs, let's first make sure we're all on the same page. A custom GPT is a feature inside ChatGPT. In other words, custom GPTs are unique to ChatGPT. You're not going to find custom GPTs inside Claude or Gemini. Custom GPTs are customized versions of ChatGPT that you create for a specific purpose. Think about it like this. Regular ChatGPT is like a super smart general purpose assistant. You can ask it almost anything and it'll give you surprisingly good results across a broad range of topics. A custom GPT, on the other hand, is more like a specialist you set up for one specific job you expect to do repeatedly. For example, you could create a custom GPT that reviews new client intake forms and points out what's missing, what the person seems to need help with, and what follow-up questions you should be asking. Or you could create a custom GPT set up with your services, policies, pricing rules, and FAQs, so when your team gets the same customer questions every week, the custom GPT can help draft clear, consistent answers without you having to rethink and re-explain your business every single time. That's the difference. It's still ChatGPT under the hood, but a custom GPT is set up for a specific job you expect to repeat with custom instructions for exactly how that job should be done, so you don't have to re-explain yourself every time. One other point of clarification before we continue. You might have heard the term AI agent recently because it's being talked about everywhere right now. A custom GPT is not the same thing as an AI agent. A custom GPT is a reusable specialist you set up inside ChatGPT. An AI agent, on the other hand, is more about giving AI a task and having it take multiple steps, sometimes across different tools or platforms or files or apps, and in some cases, an AI agent may also have latitude to make certain decisions on its own. But in this video, we're talking only about custom GPTs as reusable specialists inside ChatGPT, not full-blown AI agents running around doing your work for you. Now, creating a custom GPT does not mean you need to be a developer, and you do not need to know how to write code. But you do need to think clearly, almost like a systems analyst, about what you want your custom GPT to do. So at a high level, creating a custom GPT usually means deciding what job the custom GPT needs to handle, what instructions it needs, what reference material might help, and then testing it and adjusting it repeatedly to make sure the answers are useful, accurate, and that it actually works. And that last part really matters. Because the hard part about creating a custom GPT is not clicking the buttons. The hard part is defining precisely what you want your custom GPT to do. And that's often easier said than done. Because if the instructions are fuzzy or vague, your output is likely to be fuzzy and vague as well. So how do you know when it's worth investing your time and energy to create a custom GPT versus just using regular ChatGPT? Well, here's how I would think about it. If you just want one sandwich, you don't build an entire sandwich factory. You just make a sandwich. Same thing applies to custom GPTs. If you only need ChatGPT to help you with a specific job just once, then regular ChatGPT is usually the better choice. You do not need to set up a whole system for something you're only going to do one time. However, back to our sandwich analogy, if you need to make the same kind of sandwich over and over, this is where the sandwich factory starts to make more sense. And that also applies to custom GPTs. So if you keep asking ChatGPT to help you with the same job, and you have to keep giving regular ChatGPT the same background information, the same instructions, the same rules, and the same corrections, that's when a custom GPT starts to make sense. Because now you're not building a custom GPT for one random task, you're building your custom GPT to save yourself from repeating the same work over and over. If you have a one-time job, just use regular ChatGPT. If you have a recurring, repeatable job, consider setting up a custom GPT. Now, up to this point, we've been mostly talking about the two ends of the spectrum. On one end, there's regular ChatGPT, No setup, no special structure, just ask the question and go. On the other end of the spectrum, there is a custom GPT. More setup, more structure, and usually designed for repeatable jobs where you want more consistent results. But before we turn this into a simple two-choice binary decision, custom GPT versus no custom GPT, there's a third middle option worth mentioning, and that is saved prompts, and I use them all the time. A saved prompt is simply a prompt you write once and you save somewhere, like in a Word doc, a text file, a Notes app, or wherever you keep things where you need quick access. Then when you need that saved prompt, you just copy and paste it into ChatGPT, add the new information, and run it. Saved prompts can save you a ton of time because you're not rebuilding the same instruction from scratch every time. So when you're trying to decide the best way to work with ChatGPT, I'd break it into 3 levels. Level 1 is regular ChatGPT, and this is where you use ChatGPT for quick one-time help. For example, you might say, help me understand this confusing WordPress plugin error and what I should try next. Or compare Calendly with another scheduling tool and help me think through the pros and cons. Those are normal one-off ChatGPT jobs where you don't need anything special. Level 2 is the saved prompt. Saved prompts are perfect for simple jobs you repeat, but where you don't need something as structured as a full-blown custom GPT. For example, a saved prompt would be perfect if you regularly ask ChatGPT to turn a customer testimonial into 3 short social media posts, 1 friendly, 1 educational, and 1 direct. Or maybe you often ask ChatGPT to take a customer question and turn it into a short FAQ answer for your website, plus a social media post that explains the answer in plain English. Those jobs repeat, but they're still simple enough that having a saved prompt may be all you need. Then level 3 is the custom GPT. This is where a job is not only repeated, but it also needs background information, specific rules, and more consistency. For example, a dental office could create a custom GPT loaded with its services, insurance policies, payment options, appointment rules, and pre-visit instructions. That way, the front desk can quickly respond with accurate answers to patient questions without hunting through 5 different documents. Or a roofing company could create a custom GPT loaded with its service packages, warranty rules, pricing guidelines, and examples from past jobs. Then when it's time to write an estimate or explain a repair recommendation to a homeowner, the custom GPT can make the response clearer and more consistent. That's the point where a custom GPT starts to earn its keep. Now here's where a lot of people get things backwards. They hear about custom GPTs and immediately start thinking, oh, cool new toy, improve efficiency, make my life easier. What custom GPT should I build? But that's probably not the best question to ask. Instead, the better question is, what job do I keep asking ChatGPT to help me with over and over? And the reason that's the question you need to ask is that you don't want to invest the time and energy setting up a custom GPT until you're pretty sure you've identified a problem that actually needs fixing. So if you can honestly say there's something you use ChatGPT for every day or several times per week or even several times per month, then you've probably identified a job where a custom GPT might make sense. But if it's a job you only do a few times per year, a custom GPT is probably not worth setting up. In that case, regular ChatGPT or even a saved prompt is probably plenty good enough. So make sure you do things in the proper order. Don't create a solution, then go looking for a problem. So let's say you've identified a job where a custom GPT might actually make sense. The next logical question is, can you build one of these yourself or do you need to hire a developer? Yes, you probably could build a custom GPT on your own, or at least a basic custom GPT. You do not need to be a developer and you do not need to know how to write code. And if you're patient and willing to watch some YouTube videos, you can probably figure out the basic mechanics of setting up a custom GPT. But that does not automatically mean you'll want to do it yourself, because again, the hard part is usually not clicking around inside the custom GPT builder. The hard part is figuring out what the custom GPT should do, how it should behave, what instructions it needs, what information it should know, and how to test it so you know whether it's actually useful. It's kind of like asking, could I fix my own brakes? Well, technically, yes, I could probably watch some YouTube videos, buy the tools, spend the weekend in the garage, skin my knuckles, make a few mistakes, and hopefully get it right. But me personally, no thanks. I'm just going to pay someone who already knows what they're doing. And custom GPTs are similar. Yes, some people will enjoy trying to figure this out themselves. And if that's you, great. But if you don't have the time or desire to learn how to set up a custom GPT properly, it may make more sense to just have someone help you build it. So are custom GPTs worth it or overkill? Well, the real answer is it depends on the job and your situation. Custom GPTs are probably overkill if the job is one time, low stakes, or changes every time you do it. And if a normal ChatGPT prompt or a saved prompt already gets the job done, you probably do not need a custom GPT. But a custom GPT can absolutely be worth your time when you have a repeatable job, specific instructions, a need for consistency, and you don't want to re-explain yourself every single time you do that job. So if you don't have a custom GPT yet, or you've never built one, don't worry, you're not behind. And frankly, you may never even need one. Regular ChatGPT and saved prompts may be all you'll ever need. But at least now you know what a custom GPT is, where it fits, and when it's actually worth creating.